This is the John Brown Alliance, where we don't fear, we fight. We don't clock out, and we know the assignment. Ironically, tonight, what I chose for the subject of the Anti-Fascist Book Club is the same subject I chose to make this video, called Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Now, if you're a member of Congress, a regular American, or a member of the Supreme Court right now, and have not read this pamphlet, please read it. If you have read it, you need a reread, more than likely. Let me take a moment to ask you to like and subscribe to this video. This might be the last bastion of free speech. Also, it moves us up in the algorithms so that you see more of our content. I'm trying to process something. Now, we had a death of Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I was a super fan or make any comments as far as giving fake empathy or anything like that. That's not how I roll. That's not how I can roll, and I can't live with myself if I make statements that I don't back up. I need to understand first how members of the House of Representatives were able to sign that bill. People that I have for years thought of in high regard are doing things right now that just don't sit well with me. I think I know why, but that's neither here nor there. Now, I can go through a litany of things that I have lost since 2016, and little compromises people that I know have made in the name of getting along with the Republican Party, or just passing a bill, or just making it so people could get food stamps, or, have schools funded. But we're at a point now, especially in blue states, where we're spending money for a government and getting nothing back. Now, let me process this, what we're being asked to do. In case everybody forgot, when Donald Trump came into office, Elon Musk came in. Thousands of people were fired from their government jobs. Government agencies were gutted. Our personal information was hijacked. And all those funds have disappeared with no accounting. And if that accounting exists, it has not been made public. So the American people have no idea where that money has gone. All we know is that if we have a disaster, there's no FEMA. School districts are not getting their money. Highways are not being built. Things that were passed under the past Democratic administration are not being funded. And this is nationwide. And maybe between all of the 50 states, we need to get together and compare notes and find out who is receiving these funds and who are not. Because all I hear is how something is getting defunded by Trump and the Trump administration and MAGA, and people are not getting their funds. Now, none of this is being discussed on MSNBC and CNN, which is why I might watch 2 programs and then turn that garbage off, because it's like it never happened. After the news cycle is over with, nobody's talking about it anymore. So where did all this money go? That's number one. Number two, and let me process this. We are being asked at the end of this month to fund a government with our tax dollars from the last time missing in action. We have no idea where they're going. So you're asking us, suppose you went and you paid for your car to get fixed, and they quoted you $5,000, and you paid the $5,000 up front. You come back, your car's not fixed, and they tell you you have to pay another $5,000 if you want it fixed. So you say, okay, I'll pay the $5,000. You come back a week later, and the car isn't fixed. And they say to you it's going to cost another $5,000. Well, after a while, you've paid for that car all over again. And that's what the American people are going through right now. We already paid the United States government. And that money is gone, missing. We don't know where it is. And now you're asking us to pay again. Now you can call it the Trump shutdown. You can call it the Democratic shutdown. You can call it whatever you want. You know what I call it? The constitutional shutdown. Because you cannot tax someone and extort money from them and they get nothing in return. That's what it is. And not only is this extortion happening on the Republican side now, it's happening on the Democratic side. Because what you're asking us to do is allow you to collect a paycheck, and the only thing we get in return is some Medicaid. That's all you're asking for. You're not asking for food stamps to continue. You're not asking for the school lunch budget to be restored. You're not asking for infrastructure. You're not asking for the jobs of the thousands of people who were fired from the United States government. You're not asking for qualified individuals to be placed in government agencies. You're not asking for any of that. You're just asking for Medicaid. So you're telling me you're going to continue to get the same paycheck you did last year for doing absolutely nothing. And to the Supreme Court, I say the same. You're falling for the okie doke, and you're being used by people like Clarence Thomas. That's number one. He's been there the longest pulling the okie doke, in my opinion. And you've fallen into the trap. And I'm going to remind you of something that happened in the past called the Holocaust that you think can't happen to you. This might be America, but the way a government is taken over is first they start silencing people, then disappearing people, and then all those entities and structures that you trusted disappear. But the brilliance of this bullshit is that these institutions are being used and then disappeared. Like the Republican Party and the Supreme Court. And the American people are being duped into paying for their own Holocaust and genocide. Now make no mistake, after they get rid of Latinos, they're going to come for black people. So don't fall for that okie doke about this not being your fight. Because if you have ancestors that invested their blood, sweat, and tears in serving in the military, fighting for civil rights, or being enslaved, this is your fight. If you are Latino and have been here for 30 years, paying taxes and contributing to this America, this is your fight. If you are Native American and your land was stolen and you were tortured and raped in boarding schools, or have anyone in your family who has been, this is your fight. So the question becomes, how much more are the American people who voted Democrats into office expected to give? Because some of us don't have any more to give but our lives for this country. You need to think about that. Every elected official who has acted outside of the interest of their constituents do not represent the whole of America anymore. We do. And what you have laid into our laps is not another period of grief and suffering, but the burden and the yoke of a revolution that we must carry on our backs. As you sit there, enjoy your meals, pay your mortgage, go on vacation, the rest of America is suffering greatly. And this isn't about find the fuck out or red states or blue states. This is about hunger, desperation, and lack of freedom. So what the Democratic Party is asking us to do is to settle for Medicaid. As long as they fight for Medicaid, they've done something. Wow. To be homeless and on Medicaid. Not to mention that the prices of everything are going up. And for those of us who still might be able to buy a Christmas present or two, are not going to be able to give our children what we had when we were growing up. That's operating under the assumption that all Americans can see me right now and look at my face. Because a lot of them, their new homes are tents. And those tents are being destroyed right now in large cities in America. Some of those tents contain the last histories of those families. Personal heirlooms. The most important thing someone took out of their house before they became homeless. And then you see an earth mover come, scoop that tent up and throw it in a dumpster like it's nothing. Like these people don't matter. Like they're garbage. And I say again to our Democratic elected officials and Republicans, not that you're going to listen, that same tent that goes into the dumpster, for every one of those tents, there's 1,000 more coming. And 1,000 more of us are going to be treated like garbage while you sit in your ivory tower in Washington, D.C. But make no mistake, once they're done with us, they're coming for you. Once they're done using you to make us worship someone like Charlie Kirk by passing some stupid crap, by the time they're done making you, make us be complicit by saying there's no excuse for violence in the United States of America. This country was built on violence. And yet again, during another cycle of violence, you're asking us to sit and take it. Except this time, it's not just Native Americans, it's not just black people. It's everybody who is not rich or bought off by special interests. For those of you getting paid by APAC, and these big PACs in the Democratic Party, you honestly need to reconsider your values and your life's goals. Because even if we are successful in turning the tide here, there is no guarantee that your job is safe. You are not there forever. And the reason why is because the rest of us who are left after this is over cannot afford another you. We won't have it. We won't tolerate it, and we won't stand for it. To the Supreme Court, understand something. Donald Trump does not need you anymore. When he feels like doing something, he's going to ignore you. So as important as you think you are not. Clarence Thomas, Justice Alito, and others, your grift will end when you are of no further use to rich white America. Trust me on that. That ride is over with. And I think it will be sooner than you think. But that's for you to find out. And you reap what you sow. And many of us have been predicting since 2016 that certain people were going to get their due, and they have. Look at the bodies that Trump has left in his wake already. And you think you're special? To you Democrats, what are you compromising for? It must be for you, because it sure as fuck is not for me. Since Biden was in office, trying to do what he could to restore things the way they were, we have not gotten shit. And in blue states, we have paid more into the system for many moons than we have gotten back. And now we're just completely cut off every time Trump has a whim. You can call this shutdown whatever you want, but what you can expect is that a lot of people are not going to pay taxes next go round. Number two, with no jobs, you're not going to be able to collect taxes. So you can make people as broke as you want. You can pretend there's no job loss all you want. You can, grift the unemployment rates. You can do whatever you want. That's not going to change. Zero revenue. And that's what we're headed for. And they're going to take everything we have. Democrats and Republicans. That is the path we are on. We can't pay taxes if we don't have jobs. We can't work if we're sick. We can't work if we're hungry. So good luck with keeping your salaries, because they're going to be non-existent. You have to have somebody to collect taxes from in order to collect taxes. I guess you guys didn't do the math. Since there's no real job report now, but that's no excuse for ignorance. This is where we're at. But the biggest loser is going to be you, because you're going to have to sit there and watch all this shit happen. And when you do, I hope mine is the last face you see in your mind. When the same thing happens to you that they're doing to the Latinos. When you are of no further use and are ready for the trash. and they snatch you off the street, throw you in jail, and then deport you to another country because they don't want you here anymore. That's what making America great again means. And if you think you're immune, you are sorely mistaken. And you have indeed fallen for the okie doke. Our faith in government is not shaken. It is gone. When I talk to the children younger than I am, who remember the 1990s and the 1980s, it's just phenomenal how their talents are being wasted on minimum wage jobs instead of going to college. And mind you, the minimum wage has not been raised in forever in most of America. So the American dream, since it's no longer obtainable, why should we pay your salary when we have none? That's a question you need to answer. And you need to answer it before the end of the month. You have two choices. One, comply. In your words, compromise. This is not a compromise. You're not giving up your shit, you're giving up ours. So stop playing like it's anything but that. Or two, you can grow a backbone and stand the fuck up. Either way, you need to do something besides what you're doing now, because what you're doing now is not working. And it's not going to work in the future. You have this one opportunity. This one opportunity. The government, for the rest of us, is already shut down. We've either lost our jobs, lost our homes, lost our cars, lost our health care, lost our kids' school lunches, lost our health through COVID in the last administration, or something else, some other thing I have not covered. So it's shut down for us, especially in blue states when we're not getting anything funded. Our history is shut down. A woman's choice is shut down. Voting rights are shut down. Libraries are shut down. Schools to teach our kids to compete in the future are shut down. Our museums and culture are shut down. These are the things that make a society, and you have allowed them to be taken away from us. But you ask us to pay for more? How dare you? As far as I'm concerned, at the end of this month, you have one choice. Because come hell or high water, you're going to end up in the same position eventually that we are. They're going to do that work. Now you can pay now or you can pay later. But you can't have it both ways anymore. You can't look like the good guy anymore while you go behind our backs and vote against our interests. Because we're watching your vote. We're watching you. And we're going to watch you for the next few days. There's something that was lost here in American history, along with African American history, indigenous history, and the original sin of the United States. It was the American Revolution and what it actually was, not what MAGA made it into, what it actually was. If you want to tear down the castle, you got to go at the king. Democrats aren't going at the king. And as long as you don't, you will fail. This is the John Brown Alliance. When you see something wrong, do something right.